to a Paint by Numbers bonus episode of The Horror Collector. I'm your host, good, bad, I'm the one with the podcast. I'm Terry M. West, also known as the hardest working horror author you've never heard of. Now, I'm currently working on the 6th episode of the Horror Collector podcast. It's going to cover my favorite horror movie of all time, the original 1968 Night of the Living Dead, George Romero's opus that's responsible for the zombie genre as we know it today. Now, I'm still getting elements together for that episode. It's taken me a bit to put together, but it's totally going to be worth it. In the meantime, I figured, hey, why not throw together an episode? Because honestly, I miss your beautiful faces after a while. So I've been on a binge lately of buying horror art pieces, one-of-a-kind type things. Honestly, there's nothing better than having a one-of-a-kind item in your collection. And for me, art is the way to go. Paintings, sculptures, artists that make one-of-a-kind type custom toys. So hey, let's art and Toyden. And that title will make sense when you get to the end of this episode. But before we go there, let me just talk to you a minute about the podcast and how everything's going. I'm really proud to announce that on Spotify, we are now not only an audio podcast, you can also watch us in video. We were invited early on to submit our podcast for consideration when they decided they were going to start incorporating video with their audio podcasts, and we're thrilled that we were chosen. So if you go to Spotify, you can listen to us on the road, and when you stop, you can flip around and you can watch us. It's really cool. And we're also on places like Anchor, Apple, iTunes. You can find us just about anywhere. And of course, our main, lifeline is YouTube. And speaking about that, look, I really enjoy doing this. It's probably the thing I've enjoyed doing the most, And it would really help us out if you would just do simple things like subscribe, share the episodes, give us likes, give us comments, turn people on to us. I'd really like to see the channel continue to grow. And if you enjoy what we do here and you can help us out by a simple subscription or like or comment, please do. So we're going to take a quick break. Now, recently, I don't know if you knew it or not, but recently we shot a little promo for the podcast where my son, Terrence West, plays me as a young horror collector. It was a lot of fun. A lot of people got a kick out of it. So check it out and then meet me back here.
Mom, welcome to my 70s era bedroom. I'm your son, Terry M. West, also known as the apple of your eye.
What are you reading?
I'm reading a super disgusting horror comic, Mom. It's the grossest one I've ever read.
Give it to me.
Mom, why are you taking my stuff?
Because I don't want you reading those disgusting magazines and watching those sickening movies.
But Mom, holy guacamole, horror is the greatest thing in the world.
Horror will rot your precious mind. If you're not careful, you'll grow up to be the hardest working horror author no one's ever heard of. Or worse, a horror podcast host.
Mom was right. The Horror Collector Podcast, hosted by Terry M. West. I cover everything from yesteryear to yesterday. Available on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, and most other places. And remember, horror collectibles
Can be a scary business.
So in this segment here, we're going to talk about some horror artists. It's my goal to create my own little kind of night gallery at some point. You're going to start seeing the pieces I'm picking up take the place of other things in the back. Heck, I might even just create my own little space for my own little macabre, masterpieces. So here are the first few pieces that I'm using to build my, horror art museum. The first piece is from an artist named Sean McCaffrey. Now, Sean is an incredible artist. I mean, he really, really does some really great work. The piece that he did that I fell in love with and had to have is this rendition of Peter Cushing as Grimsdyke from the 1972 Tales from the Crypt film. He lacquered this after he was done painting it, so there's a little bit of a glare. Now, most of the things I'm going to show you, I had to take the glass out of because otherwise you would not be able to see anything but the lights. So these pieces I'm going to hold up are missing the glass frames, okay? But this one still has a glow because, like I said, Sean did a lacquer on it after he was done with the watercolors. And man, I just really dig this piece so much. This piece just haunted me until I was able, that I finally just broke down and emailed him on eBay and said, "Oh man, I got to have this," So yeah, this is it. Now, Sean's done some other fantastic pieces that he's sold, and I'm really jealous that I haven't been able to get my hands on those. He's done, and you're going to see them pop up here while I'm talking. He did a really sweet piece of Christopher Lee as Dracula. Man, I wish I had that. And he did another one of the demon from Curse of the Demon. He's also done modern horror icons like Jason and Michael Myers. His presentation reminds me a lot of Basil, and the colors that he uses behind the subjects just really knocks me out. Really puts me in the mind of the old Famous Monsters covers. Now, I plan on adding more of his stuff, and I'm actually talking to Sean about maybe even doing a little something together. If you're at all interested in his work, you can find him on eBay under McCaffrey Wares. That's his seller's name, and I will put it, underneath here while I'm talking. He's also on Etsy, and you just search Sean McCaffrey. He has a Twitter account. Other than that, he doesn't have a whole lot of web presence, which he should really change because I think he could be one of the greats. All right, so this next artist I'm going to talk about, his name is Doug Barron. And Doug is a comic artist. He was a former art teacher. He does these fantastic watercolor pieces, and they just really bowl me over. And he does a pretty good amount of them that he sells on eBay. And what's really cool about the work is he does a lot of them on the back of comic book boards. And he's able to give you a good deal on them because of the media he uses. His original watercolors and ink washes run anywhere from $15 to $30. It's a really good deal. The first piece I'm going to show you is something that immediately just jumped out at me. This is a Frankenstein watercolor piece that he did. And man, I was an instant fan of Doug after I saw this. Just really blew me away. Just fell in love with it. And what I love about it too is, there are a lot of artists that will do, a pretty photorealistic scene from a classic movie. Like, I don't know how many artists I've seen do like basically a photorealistic Boris Karloff, and you know it right away. What I really loved about what Doug's done here is that he's really added his own interpretation to the character. He's not just sort of just giving you a scene of Boris Karloff, from Frankenstein. I mean, this is his interpretation of it, and I love it. And he's actually done several different versions of Frankenstein, and I plan on getting my hands on a few of them. This just jumped out at me in an incredible way, and I had to have it. And I also got a couple of more pieces by Doug. And again, it's missing the glass, so he did this Nosferatu piece that I just was like, wow. I mean, I really, really, really fell in love with this piece. It just was, man, I had to have it. I saw it and I had to have it, like right away, just wow. Some good stuff there. This is a piece that, I think this is the first piece that really attracted me to his work. I love it. It's Herman Munster. And I'm trying to get the glare off. Okay, there we go. And I just love this piece. And if you're a fan of the Munsters, I mean, you can hear that print. You know, darn, 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 darn. Just, oh man. I just, man, loved it. And I just love, like I said, I love Doug's interpretations of the characters. I mean, they're fantastic. And he not only does these horror characters, he also does a ton of Star Wars characters. He does like some cartoon characters. Like I've seen the Slee Stack from Land of the Lost on there. He's done some retro Batman, Adam West, Burt Ward. Just a lot of really cool stuff. And like I said, for the prices that he charges, I mean, you should cover your whole wall with his work, okay? Now, you can find him on Instagram. He's under Doug_Baron_art. And I will put that underneath here too. I think that's the best way to track him down. And I'm sure that can lead to his eBay page from there. Now, this next thing I'm going to show you is actually a sculpture. And it was something, again, that I saw and immediately we went, wow, that speaks to me. I must have it. This is a 3D sculpture that's made from paper mache and a wooden plaque. And it's this really funky, cool look at Frankenstein. And if you turn to the side here, I mean, it's got this really cool profile. Like I said, it really protrudes out. I love just the funky style. This was done by an artist named Michael Brown. It was done back in 2006. Michael is one of the artists that's part of a company called UC Studios. And you can look them up under ucstudios.com. It's a collective of art students that banded together, started this business. They do all kinds of really cool commercial and commission pieces. So you should really check them out. All right, and now we're going to go to the Toyden portion of this episode. Toyden is actually an artist by the name of Dennis John Galinsky. Now, Dennis does a lot of really cool things. He does his own comic book line. This piece right here, I'm sorry about the glare, but this piece right here, if you ever went into a 5 and dime store, which I guess was kind of the early version of the dollar store, they always had these chintzy little toys that were, made you wonder if they were really licensed. This is like a little pinball machine, and it looked something like this was very common back then. Back in, I'm thinking like, the early 70s. But what he's done is he's customized it to look like it was based on the Godzilla Marvel comic, and he's got everything on there, including the As Seen on TV label, some really cool backing art, and little pinball game. It actually works, but I'm not taking it out. I mean, I'm saving it, When I saw this, I immediately hit that buy it now button. Just had to have it. And he's done other versions of this, and again, I'm so angry that I don't have them because they were one of a kind, which means I can't have them unless I track down and hound the people that bought it and get them to sell it to me. What I'm going to do is when we go out of this segment, I'm going to run some images of his work because it's kind of hard to go through everything. But I can tell you, when we go to our last break here, it's going to consist of a bunch of pictures of Dennis's work because it's really extensive and some cool stuff. He does custom action figures. They look like you could have bought them at the toy store. He does all kinds of crazy, wacky figures you would never think, to do. He does his own kind of little colorform sets. Just really cool stuff. He also does some beautiful acrylic work. He's done the monster cereals, guys. He did this one of the Groovy Ghoulies that I totally wish I had and I don't. So yeah, you can find Dennis on Facebook. Just search the Toyden, Toyden, and you'll find his page. And what I really love about Dennis's work, like I said, is he's really into the retro, kind of vibe, and he does these really kind of obscure things that would have probably never been licensed, So I'm a big fan of obscure. I'm a big fan of stuff that's, rare and off the beaten path, as I like to say. So we're going to cut out of here for a minute. We're going to take like a look there for a few minutes at Dennis's awesome work. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you one more little thing, and then we're going to bounce. Okay, we're back, and we're about to head out, actually, but there's just one more little thing I had to show off. Now, my son Terrence, he went out a weekend or two ago, and he went to the store, and he came back, and he brought me this. All right? This is a plushie of Tim Curry from It, because he knows that's my Pennywise, okay? That's his father's Pennywise. That's my Pennywise. So he brought this to me, and I love it. Because it's from him, it instantly went to the top of my favorite, list. This is something that everything else in this room can go before this goes, just because of where it came from, And he also was very kind, and he did a little card for me. He gave me a little card, and it said, "Thanks for leading with your example and making a real difference." Now, man, you know something? Out of everything I've ever done with my life, out of accolades, out of awards, whatever, that one's the best. So, okay, we're going to get out of here. I think things went well. Like I said, we're going to be back before you know it, and we're going to have a pretty extensive look at Night of the Living Dead and Night of the Living Dead collectibles. And until we meet again, remember, horror collectibles can be a scary business.